Welcome back, everybody, to more from the Sableyes. I'm here today with Blake. How are we doing, Blake?
I'm doing good, thanks, Mitch.
That is good, and we're here continuing our look at some of the lists that saw success at World Championships. And this one was Shintaro Ito's second place Blacephalon list. I apologise for the terrible framing on PDCGO. Unfortunately, I don't have the right Naganadels, and so everything's fallen apart, but that's okay. This list's pretty cool, Blake.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I like the new take on it with the Heatrans. I find that part particularly interesting. And I also like the new addition of a Psychic Energy to help you use Venom Shot more if the attack's very strong.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff that this list does that other Blacephalon lists haven't done in the past. So let's talk through it. We start off, of course, with the name attacker, Blacephalon GX. Classic mind blown 50 times the amount of energy that you send to the Lost Zone. The interesting thing about this list is that he's only playing 3 Blacephalon GX in this particular list. Obviously, that's being offset by the fact that we have 2 copies of Heatran GX, which saw lots of play, but the 3 Blacephalon, something that we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, I honestly can't think of like a good enough reason to not play 4 copies of this because you either want to start it and you want to have the most access to it. And you want to have as many Ultra Beasts as possible to trade with Ultra Conversion. The Heatran's obviously very good. We saw its power in the matches where Shintaro was streamed and featured on stream, and it's quite powerful. But I don't know. There's some cards in here that I would rather cut for a 4th Blacephalon, but obviously Shintaro is a very good player, much better than I am. So
Yeah, it's one of
to judge his deck building proficiency.
it's
But
one of those ones where we kind of sit back and go, hey, well, maybe this is a little bit more consistent, but, you know, maybe you don't need to be consistent. Maybe you just need to have a good list, and Shintaro's thought about it a lot, I presume. I'll just quickly run through what Heatran does, because this is the first time we're looking at Heatran on the channel. Steaming Stomp does 130 for 3 energy, and Hot Burn does 50 times the amount of fire energy attached. So that can potentially do, as an expandable damage, it can potentially do as much damage as you have fire energy, because Burning Road brings all of the fire energy onto Heatran when it moves into the active. And this deck actually doesn't mind it so much when all of the energy moves to Heatran, or some of the energy moves, because if Heatran survives, you can just get rid of it with Blacephalon Mind Blown next turn, or if Heatran gets knocked out, you can use Charge Up with Naganadel to get that energy back in play. So I think it's actually a really cool attacker, but you're right, it's kind of awkward when you've only got 3 Blacephalon. You probably want to have 4, but Shintaro is probably more than happy to play the 3.
yeah, so like the only thing I worry about with like playing 2 Heatran is starting it. To be honest, like starting Heatran, I imagine is awful. And what I have noticed is that this deck doesn't really play it's like heavy switch count like all the other fire decks that utilize Heatran do. So yeah, like I can see the power of it. I don't know about 2, but I like the card is certainly very powerful. So I suppose you want to make sure you have access to it in a game.
Yeah, that's true. Moving on, we'll have a look at the Naganadel line. We've obviously got the Charging Up Naganadel, which can use Turning Point for 80+, which is a particularly useful attacker with lots of Mew Mew floating around. If they don't play down the Jirachi GX, then on your Turning Point turn, you can use a non-GX to take 3 prizes, which is strong. But the new edition is 2 copies of the Ultra Conversion Naganadel GX, which changes the way that this deck can build its list. It becomes the consistency engine rather than just a way of accelerating energy. Ultra Conversion being able to trade away an Ultra Beast in order to get 3 more cards, and it means that we're not so worried about playing other supporters. We can kind of just use the Welders when we want to use them. We can use whatever else it is that we desperately want to get to. We don't need to worry about using supporters to shore up our hand.
Yeah, the amount of draw power provided with this new edition is absolutely insane. You can draw like entire thirds of your deck going into your Beast Ring turn, just trying to hit it with 1 or 2 of these bad boys down, a Heat Factory, you know, Welder, to Dene. It all comes together to make sure that you never miss Beast Rings when you go into Beast Ring turn.
Yes, and the cool addition in Shintaro's list is that one of Psychic Energy, which allows Naganadel GX to actually attack with Venom Shot. It's something that lots of people won't be expecting when you're playing Blacephalon, to have that Naganadel GX come out and maybe take a couple of sneaky prizes on a Dedenne on the bench, or remove a particularly important piece of your kind of consistency engine, maybe a Malamar or something like that, to take a prize that your opponent isn't expecting. To round out the Pokemon, we have one copy of Dedenne GX with Dedenne Change, in order to get ourselves extra draw on those Beast Ring turns. And we also have one copy of Mew, which is seeing a lot of play in a lot of decks because Pikarom is so powerful. And if Mew wasn't in this list, then Pikarom could very easily just run over the top of Blacephalon using Full Blitz to take multiple prizes and potentially skip Beast Ring.
Yeah, absolutely. Sniping is the most common way that people have been skipping Beast Ring in the past. And, I mean, if we have an out to preventing one way to skip Beast Ring, then we're certainly going to play it.
Certainly will. So that's the Pokemon line. We'll move on to the items and supporters. And like I was saying, since you've got Naganadel GX, you don't necessarily need to worry about the supporter line as much as you used to. This particular list is playing 4 copies of Cynthia, 4 copies of Welder, 1 Lily, and 1 Harpu. For me, the Welder is obviously the most important supporter in this list. It allows you to have just such massive burst turns where you can put on maybe a couple of energy with Welder, maybe you get a Beast Ring or 2, and suddenly, with a couple of charging ups, you're actually hitting for 300 damage when you've had absolutely nothing on the field in the lead-up. Welder makes Blacephalon so much stronger than it used to be when you had to manually power it up, and it's the reason that Blacephalon is such a strong archetype. Welder is just the extra piece that lets Blacephalon get into that S tier of decks.
Yeah, to begin with, like, without Welder, Blacephalon was just really vulnerable, because your opponent sort of dictated the pace at which you played the game. After you took your first 1 or 2 knockouts, especially if they're against non-GXs, you're sort of sitting there twiddling your thumbs where you had to manual attach, relying on techie cards like Energy Switch to try and get your attacks back out of nowhere. And it sort of gave your opponent the time they needed to skip Beast Ring, if they had the ability to in their deck. But with Welder, you can be as proactive as you like and really put the pressure on your opponent to answer you.
Yeah, and that's the key, is that you're the one who's in control. You don't need to wait for your opponent to do something to get yourself going. For Cynthia is obviously all about consistency. Sometimes you end up with just hands full of energy with Blacephalon. It's just the way that it goes, so Cynthia can shuffle those away and give you a fresh look. And the one of Lily I think is really interesting. It means that you're probably not going to be using it for that 8 card draw in the early turns, but every now and then you're just looking for those extra couple of cards, like, oh, if I can hit an energy off of a Lily to 4, or I just need a custom catcher. Maybe that is a particularly good way of finding those cards. And you have to remember as well, we do have our Naganadel GX to help us find extra cards, so Lily can give you 1 or 2 more on top of that.
Yeah, I find this is one of the most interesting counts in the whole list, because typically now that we've got no Tapu Lele, being able to access Lily on the first turn is harder now, more so than ever. So especially because there's no Pokegear in this deck, the fact that there's only 1 Lily makes me think that Shintaro was only ever interested in using Welder on the first turn, and that the Lily was just sort of a backup if you didn't happen to draw into it.
Yeah, if worse comes to worse, Lily can help you draw some cards. The most interesting supporter, I think, for me in this list is the 1 copy of Harpu. It allows you to look at the top 6 cards of your deck and put 2 of them into your hand whilst discarding the others. And I think this card's really cool. It means that you can maybe dig for some cards that you wouldn't be able to dig for normally, things like Beast Energy or another custom catcher, whilst potentially getting a couple of extra energy into the discard pile for you to charge up with your Naganadel. It's probably not the most consistent card in the deck. You're probably using it in a situation to try and get into something that you desperately need, but the chances of getting it aren't that great. But, you still get yourself the opportunity, and if the Harpu gives you a good 6 cards, then you can take the 2 you want, chuck the rest, you're fine with that, and then go from there.
Yeah, I think Harpu is a really interesting choice. Um, it feels to me like you've got a lot of discard triggers to get fire in the bin. You can get to those awkward places where you've just drawn really well and you haven't need to use your search to put fire in the bin, so you actually don't have very many. You might not have found your heat factory, so there's just no fire in the bin. So without like Dedenne or anything like that, you might need to Hapu just to get those fire in the bin. It's also a cool way, as you've mentioned off camera, to find Beast Energy, which the deck doesn't really have access to, like a search for that card. Um, and also cards like Reset Stamp and Custom Catches as well.
Yeah, you can just kind of give yourself those extra few cards, try and get into the combo pieces you need. We'll have a look at the rest of the items now. We've got 3 copies of B-String, which is a bit shorter than you would usually expect to see. 4 copies is obviously the standard. Shintaro obviously feels like 3 is the best number, because, 6 energy is pretty strong. And with Welder, you probably don't need to play B-String as much as you do. Obviously, you risk... as you did, sorry. Obviously, with 3 B-String, you risk not hitting them on the turns that you need to, which could be a potential issue, but when you've got that extra draw from the Ganadel GX, maybe a Hapu or 2, you'll probably get into 1 or 2, and normally that's going to be enough.
Yeah, usually only need a couple, but like in this tag team format, a B-String value has certainly gone up, and I honestly can't think of a good enough reason to not play 4 of this card. It just fundamentally breaks the game, and it's the main reason why this deck is so strong. So not playing 4 of them is like very interesting. There's a lot of these card counts that I don't agree with.
This is an interesting
but
choice.
but yeah, and when you need to find a card on a very specific turn in order for it to be powerful, and you're not playing max counts of it, it's very confusing to me. Which is why the lower counts of B-String and Lily are very confusing, as well as not playing 4 Blacephalon. There's a lot of card counts here I'd like to trim and change around, but obviously it worked for him through the tournament because he got him to 2nd place.
Yeah, so it can't be bad. Maybe we're just not brave enough to run the 3 B-String, but hey, that's alright. We've got another 3 count here. That's 3 copies of Cherish Ball, and this one's a little bit more understandable. Cherish Ball is your kind of second search option for Blacephalon after your Ultra Space, which is probably going to be your main source of finding Pokemon. And Cherish Ball is also the only way that we can realistically find things like Heatran and the Dene, because there are no other search outs for them. Cherish Ball is a very, very good card. 3 seems like a fine count to me.
Yeah, the argument's like I've seen lists for Blacephalon up until and after Worlds, sort of chopping and changing between it's definitely like a 4-3 split, but which one is 4 and which one is 3 seems to be of heavy debate between people. I think in this list especially, I feel like 4 Cherish Ball would be stronger than 4 Treasure just because of the Heatran inclusion. And I always like having maximum outs to the Denage just in case of a bricked hand, so I can keep playing the game. But the Ganado is your consistency engine and the way that you get fire engine on the board, so 4 of them always make sense. So the three obviously works. Just obviously didn't have too much trouble finding is the Dene and Heatran and testing, so 3 Cherish Ball seems to be fine.
Yeah, and the thing with Naganadel as well is that they're searchable with one of your 4 mysterious treasure. All of your Naganadel line, even the GX, can be found with that treasure, so you're not super concerned. And as well as your copies of Ultra Space, there's 2 copies in this list. You're going to be able to find the cards that you need with relative ease. Obviously, every now and then you're going to find a turn where maybe you miss something that you need, but that's what you get when you run a slightly riskier list. And hey, if you roll well, you get good results. Looking at the rest of the items, we have 4 copies of Custom Catcher. Shintaro choosing to opt for this instead of the Alolan not the Alolan Ninetales, the regular Ninetales, for his Gust. And I think that's pretty strong with Blacephalon. Blacephalon's got the benefit of whenever I bring out something to attack, I'm going to knock it out. So the strength of Custom Catcher is that it becomes another kind of consistency card. You can play it to draw 3, and you also get to pick out the targets. It's not like other decks where you maybe need to Gust 3 or 4 times. Custom Catcher gusting twice is usually going to be enough for Blacephalon to win the game.
Yeah, unless you like, you really hate Schrödinger and you think people will actually play it, as it proved in Worlds that no one actually played it, basically.
Good. Good.
Which is good for everyone involved. But I think the thing with custom catches is it really depends how you like to run Blacephalon, whether or not you choose Ninetales or custom catches. Obviously, Shintaro likes the Naganadel GX, and I think that leans itself far towards the custom catcher option over Ninetales. If you want to run Naganadel GX and Ninetales, there's just far too many Pokemon and also not enough slots. You also have to find in some space for Pokemon communications, and obviously you're not going to want to play. You want to play a high count of it, but obviously it's going to make the rest of your deck function, poorly by comparison to if you were just running the Cherish Ball Treasure Split. So you obviously have to sacrifice that there. So unless you're running Persian as well, if you were running Persian instead of the Naganadel GX and then the Ninetales, but I think even with Persian, custom catch is better, so I can see why he chose to run that. It also allows you to draw cards in a pinch as well if you're dead drawing as well.
Yeah, so it's a pretty solid choice. To round out the items, we've got one copy of Reset Stamp, obviously choosing to go with just the one rather than two, as some lists have been saying. One does the job, shuffles your opponent's hand, and hopefully they miss what they need to win. And we also have one copy of Heat Factory Prism as well, in order to help build our hand size a little bit more, discarding some fire energy so that I can charge them back up with Naganadel. Don't need to speak too much more about that one. The energy line is pretty interesting, if only because there's one copy of Psychic Energy, like we were saying before. It gives you another out to use Naganadel GX's Venom Shot if you choose to. It means now you can use the Beast Energy or the Psychic, and 14 fire energy to get the most value out of our Blacephalon. Hopefully we're only going to need to take 2 knockouts. Maybe we're playing against a tag team, so 14 seems pretty strong, but we also have Naganadel GX as a backup attacker with that extra Psychic Energy. And the Psychic Energy is still usable with Beast Ring, so we can just Beast Ring that energy on to Naganadel GX if we want to as well.
Yeah, exactly. Typically with this deck, people weren't playing the Psychic before, so as soon as you see the Beast Energy come down on something that's not the Naga GX, you know that your bench is safe for the rest of the game, depending on their custom catcher counts and like what they have used so far. So if you see 4 custom catcher and a Beast Energy dedicated to the field or Lost Zones, then you know your bench is going to be safe for the rest of the game. But with the addition of the Psychic, you can sort of trick your opponent into overcommitting and maybe using your Dedenne after they think their bench is safe, and then suddenly the Psychic Energy might come up out of nowhere off of Beast Ring or just a manual attachment for turn and some other residual Beast Ring energy, just to take a cheeky prize on a Dedenne or something of the like.
Yeah, we very easily could see it come up. We're going to play a couple of games with it just on the ladder here. I haven't actually played Blacephalon in a very, very long time, Blake, so you're going to have to kind of take the lead on this one. We'll see what we can do with it. Hopefully we can win a couple of games, and hopefully it doesn't end up like Shintaro in the final where we end up with 3 Beast Ring in hand in turn 1 and we just can't do anything. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
That's right. Compared to judges at a World Championship level, the timer system on Pokemon Trading Card Game is far more,
It's very specific as well.
Yeah,
like we know exactly how much time we
far
have. So it's not going to be a problem.
Yep.
Alright, well,
no 2 prize penalties for us.
We've opened with double Custom Catcher in hand and a bunch of treasure and energy. We've got a Cynthia that we can play at least, so we can get rid of that. We're going to have a couple of Poipole here. What are we playing against? Gee whiz, okay, no worries.
Ooh, this could be the new Aegislash.
Yeah, it really could.
The Greninja-esque Aegislash. In the past with the Greninja builds, they were using the Splash Energy to return the entire line of Greninja back to their hands, and the new Aegislash has the very such same ability, just just attached to the Pokemon rather than on an energy that it plays. So, very interesting way to recur. I think it's 130 damage a turn, and obviously they've decided to combine that with spell tags to make it a
little bit more powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what's going
And
on here. They've got a whole
obviously,
bunch of
the
different
attack
types here.
runs off of items in the discard, so they're running acro bikes and lots of heavy item search and consistency to try and fuel the attack for their Aegislash. And of course, Aegislash evolves from Duststone, so they can get turn 2 Aegislash without needing rare candy as well.
Yes, alright, well, it looks like we might need to just chuck away this fire energy here and get started. We've got all of our Naganadel line is here.
Whoa, go Blacephalon.
Yeah, there's only one of those. That's
Okay, we've
two are
prized
prized. That's fine.
Yep.
We've prized the B string as well. What else are we missing? Okay, it's mostly just energy at this point.
Yep.
So like we've got a
Energy,
couple of
B-string, double Blacephalon.
Yep. So you know we've got ourselves a chance. It'll be all right. Get ourselves a Poip Bowl here. There's an argument that could be made to.
We ditched the other Naganadel.
Yeah, I was just about to say. There's an argument to get rid of it just to guarantee us the multiple Poipoles on the bench. Shintaro chose to run the 3-1 split of Poipole. We didn't really talk about it. I don't think it ever really matters, but it gives you the option, and that's the key.
Yeah, well, I mean, Eye Opener can be to be good in clutch situations when you don't have a better attack. To check your prizes if they're particularly bad in a certain game. So I think we just Ultra Space.
Well, I was about to say we can Ultra Space here and grab Blacephalon if we want, but I also kind of want to make sure that it hangs around for that Naga GX so I can grab it next turn. But you know, whatever.
Yeah, if we had another Ultra Beast in hand, I could see the value in grabbing the Naga GX off Ultra Space. And then holding it for next turn. But since we only have the one, there's no guarantee we're going to be able to get value off of Ultra Conversion, even if we, grabbed it for next turn.
Oh, look at that! Cool, we won.
Okay, that was interesting.
Beautiful.
The opponent was setting up rather well there, but apparently not.
Well played, Blake. We did a good job there.
Yep. Look at us.
Look at us go! Look at us go!
We did it.
We did it. We'll go again.
2 tickets.
We'll go again. Yeah, I haven't played on
standard deck.
I haven't played online for a very long time. Okay, what do we got here? It looks like we might be we could potentially be looking at a Mew Mew deck here, which
yeah, there's a wide variety of colors there.
There certainly
the first
are.
one that I saw look out was Psychics. So.
And there's lots of Mew Mew art on display as well. They've got the deck box and the sleeves and the coins, so we could be looking at a rematch of the finals here.
Yeah, I mean, who net decks really?
Nah, well, no one.
There's not a very good chance that they've net deck good friend Henry's World's Winning List. And look
at that! It's the worst start there, the one that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's that horrible start. But
that's okay.
I mean,
the rest of our hands not too
we can
bad.
get away with it, but obviously, without Pokegear, we don't have as many ways to dig for. It's a lot of fire energy. There's many ways to dig for our welders in this deck as we do in other lists.
And
but we got Ultra Space, which is nice. It's a good way to start us off, get the ball rolling. Obviously, they've got the reset hold down, but we sort of just have to put our stadium into it and sacrifice it anyway because the early search is just so important.
Yeah, we just have to go here. There's absolutely no choice, and that is a trash hand. Oh, there's not a lot going on here.
Hopefully, after they use this Ultra Space to grab their Nugget... No, they don't even grab their Nugget.
They just give us the hearth. We're away, boys. We are away.
It'd be even more insulting if they actually Cherish Ball for the Naga GX here. No, it's the Reshizard. Ooh, it's the new promo.
The new promo Reshizard, very exciting.
I wonder if they realised that they could have grabbed themselves a Naga GX there. I feel like they're going to grab it now.
That's alright. It'll be fine. Grabbing the Jirachi.
As Jirachi, they're scared of the turning point. That makes sense.
That does
but
make
one
sense.
cool thing that happens because of that is that means that now we have access to turning pointing the Jirachi for 2 prizes, which means we need to kill... it's playing Rainbow, so it's not Henry's list. Awesome. That immediately fills me with hope because his list is good.
We might actually be able to get there now because we can do...
What do we got there? I saw a lot of welders then. How much...
Oh, it was just the one. Just the one.
It was just the one?
There's a scoop up in here. There's 2 custom catches are gone. 2 custom catches are gone. Alright. We are playing the video game. I'm going to get rid of this Heatran here. Get myself some energy.
Oh, they gave us the half! Oh,
they gave us the half.
So
I know, right? I was saying it before. You weren't watching what was going on, but
I was not. I was engrossed in what was happening here. I was also disgusted by the fact that they did not choose to grab the Naganadel before replacing the stadium.
that's all right. Now we're in a situation here where we don't have another attacker. I would love to have
I think
attached this to
might have
a.
to attach to the bench here.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I would love to have attached to a Blacephalon, but we might just need to go to a Poipole. And then I reckon we just
I think we're
steaming
gonna.
stomp and hope for the
Yeah.
best. I mean, they could
I think we're
potentially
just
get a
going to
Reshi.
provoke the knockout here with double blaze. That's what I'm hoping for. If we provoke the knockout with double blaze or flare strike, perhaps, then we can just go into B string and take a knockout here.
Which would be very, very strong.
Now, obviously, the heat factor is very strong for our opponent too, but no, they don't like it.
Chooses not to use it.
They must not have any fire in hand that they want to use. So, very confusing here. I feel like you'd want to use that.
Oh, well, hey, they've got the welder, so they're choosing just to draw 3 cards with the welder rather than attaching it.
Oh, and then they put one on as well. Another rainbow from our opponent. So there's 2 down already. I wonder what they're going to choose to go for here. Obviously, the flare strike seems to stick out.
Goes for the duo, miraculous duo. So that's pretty strong.
Miraculous duo. Okay, that's pretty strong.
That is pretty
Means
strong.
we need to get a lot of hits off of our B string now, which is one of the main reasons I think running 3 is ridiculous, because as you can see we've got 1 in hand and we're going to need to hit all 3 of them to take a knockout here, most likely.
And we've already used 5 energy as well, and we only have 2 naggers in for potential. We can do a couple of
We've
things
got the
here.
reset stamp here, so
We can. Well, I'm
going
gonna play the stamp. We'll play the stamp. I'm just trying to think whether we go for the nagger in the active, or whether we just try and
we do definitely
B
B string. We're definitely going to evolve in B string.
You reckon?
That's without doubt, yeah, because there's no guarantee we're going to draw back into this, and also we want to thin energies out of our deck so that we're not actually drawing into them when we go for this Cynthia.
Yep, fair enough. I'll trust you. Let's hit it and see what happens.
Here is maybe the Naga GX. We want maybe an Ultra Space at the Dene. Oh my god, we got nearly none of that. So we're going to need to get the Conversion GX and trade away this Naga and hope that something good happens, because this looks horrible so far.
It's not ideal, but that's okay. It's going to be fine. We're going to do 160 with a non-GX. That's fine. Well, we didn't get a lot, but we got ourselves a Blacephalon, which we can start attaching to. I feel like this game's pretty much over.
I feel like... No, stop before you click anything. Because I don't want you to just randomly click Turning Point. We're going to charge up, and then we're going to retreat into Blacephalon and Bursting Burn here. Because not all of them Mew list. I feel like because this is playing Super Scoop Up, they might not actually be playing a heavy switch count, and probably bench the Mew.
All right, let's do it.
Because don't stop them from being able to Venom Shot benched Naganadel with the 3 energy on it. Because we're gonna need that if we're gonna kill this thing.
Sure. Well, let's see if it works. I hope that it all happens for the best. Hopefully, this stamp has got them into nothing here, and they struggle to do anything.
So the switch is obviously very strong here for them, because they can just go for free. Oh look, they learnt. They
figured it out. They figured out that they could do that. It's good.
Yep. So
got the Dragonite as well.
Okay, interesting. And it's not going to come up here. That they can already hit all the numbers with Reshizard, so that's fine.
They just flipped through it. Cool. So this game's over, pretty much.
Most likely, but if we can somehow manage to take a knockout here,
how are we gonna do that? How are we gonna
top deck welder?
We top deck welder, and what do we weld to? The Naganadel GX?
Well, we've got an Ultra Space in play, so alright, let's just promote the Naga GX.
Oh, the Naga GX, whoops.
I'm sorry, I actually meant what you
meant this?
Yeah, I meant this.
Oh, we top deck welder, it's happening! It's happening! Alright, cool, so what are we getting, Blacephalon?
Last Blacephalon,
Let's do it. So all we have to do is what? Weld it into a fire energy?
Yeah, I think so.
Here we
And
go.
then I think we might actually just straight out win this game if we hit
Ah,
that.
we didn't do it.
No, Ultra Conversion. To get rid of the big Naga.
Here we go. Nah, didn't happen. Oh, we got to Deno. Okay.
No, we got to Deno.
We got to Deno, so let's go in.
Yep.
Let's grab him. Alright.
We're gonna bench a Poiple.
Benchy, and then off we go. We're gonna
let it rip.
We're gonna get the energy. It's gonna happen. Oh my god.
How?
Oh my god. How does that happen?
Oh.
We play 14 fire energy. There's 4 floating around those 8 cards and these 6 over here.
Well, I know we've got them prized, but this is, taking the piss a little bit.
Alright, so I'm thinking now we potentially
stall the other Mew Mew.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably not a bad idea. Like we just gust it up and hope for the best.
And then, obviously they're playing Scoop Up, so I think we might retreat and burst, because we need to get something here.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Let's do that.
Now, obviously it means they don't need to, do anything special to take the last 2 prizes, but we just sort of need this.
The game's over. It doesn't matter. Here we go.
Fire Energy.
It was a Nugget GX.
Sweet.
So good. So good.
Now they're going to flip heads on Super Scoop Up and complete the round trip of misplays that they've been making, so that
yep, they just win the whole thing.
Making optimal plays.
No, they're just gonna welder. They're just gonna welder and win. That seems fine.
So let's scoop this one up, and let's go to another one. Let's try and get a good one.
Oh, they've just got the switch anyway. That's fine. All right, one more. We'll try one more. It's not like that was exactly how the final went as well.
Yeah, except there was a good player piloting a good list on that one, so I would feel better about losing to Henry.
That's
what
true.
We got here?
That's true.
Psychic Water, Fighting Dark.
This could be anything. I don't know what the colours mean anymore.
Be a Mew Mew list. If it's got Psychic and a bunch of other types, I've got to say it's Mew Mew these days. So.
Oh hey, look at that! We've actually got a good start.
Yep. I mean, we might have to donate away some...
some pretty valuable resources going in the bin here, but...
that's alright. We can make do. Oh, Spiritomb.
Alright.
Okay, interesting.
Alright.
I think this might be... Yeah, this could be very interesting.
Let's have a look and see what we've got. We've got a 1 Naga in play still after we donate away. We've got the Dedenne, which is the key.
Again.
We did. We've prized a Beast Ring. And we've prized... what else?
A Welder?
Welder and maybe a couple of energy as well. Not too bad. That's fine. That's fine. We can live with that.
Wait. How many Poipole did we have? That didn't look good.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention that. Oh, no, that's 4. That's fine.
Oh, no. That's alright. We just must have glanced over it. Alright,
yeah, I just kind of looked at the one. Yeah, I'm going to grab Blacephalon here. We'll get him out of the way. We're going to play down Ultra Space. We're going to set ourselves up, our board state a little bit here.
We can get a couple Poipoles and
donate ourselves away.
Yep. So we got a good start, and this also gives us like a bunch of outs to getting Welder on the first turn, which is very strong as well.
Super strong, especially against Spiritomb, which might be playing things like Tapu Fini. We never talked about that, and how strong that can be. I didn't hit what we wanted, but we can still Cynthia here, and I think it's worth doing. Just give ourselves some more cards to look at. And there you go, next turn looks pretty good to me.
I don't think we bench this Poipole.
No, I reckon we hang on to it, because then we can Ultra Conversion it away.
The main reason, aside from Ultra Conversion, is that because it's a Spiritomb, I really want a bench spot for Mew.
Yeah.
Because Mew is going to be very powerful.
Fair enough. I reckon we just leave it at that.
And it looks like they're playing the clone of Mew and the Azelf. Is this the right Azelf? The one that puts 3 around? Or is this do something else? What does this do?
So you can attack if you go second. On your first turn, shuffle one of your opponent's benched Pokemon and all cards attached to it into their deck. Sure, they can do that if they want.
It's very interesting.
That sounds fine. If that's the route of play they want to go.
Specifically bench Pokemon, hey?
Yeah.
And if you're going seconds. Interesting.
So
Well,
I
they
mean,
ditched their
what is that's a
treasure.
sand slash? What is going on? I've not played for a week and a half, and now I'm playing against all this weird stuff. Sand Tomb, alright, sure. It's another Azelf here. Pokenav, oh my goodness. Mesprit, wow, alright.
Oh, I know what this is.
Okay.
This is quad weakness.
Right, well,
So,
let's see what
yeah.
happens.
I'm gonna assume this plays a lot of cheap ways to hit different weaknesses while abusing. Yep.
Well, there's a cheap
That's
way.
Snorunt.
And there's the Uxie. We've got Mesprit and Azelf in play. Weakness is 4 times, and so Snorunt's going to evolve into Frostlass and just destroy this Blacephalon. But, you know, whatever.
Yep. Well, you know what they say: kill them while they're young. So we're gonna have to try and pick off this.
Is that the thing that they say? Is it?
That's the thing that they say.
Oh,
I really
boy.
wish they hadn't done that. I really like that point ball. Oh, we got two energy for the welder.
Yes,
That's
we do.
nice.
I reckon we're probably going to
Yep.
use it. Let's chuck it onto the active.
And then we'll see if we can get ourselves maybe an Ultra Space. Oh, we got a Heat Factory, so we've got the Naga GX enabled to us again.
We do,
So
so I'm
we
thinking
can
we
replace the Heat
evolve
Factory.
here and do some other stuff.
And then we've only got 2 Blasties, so we need to treasure away the Cherish Ball here because I want to keep both of the other cards in our hands right now.
Yes, fair enough, and we've already used the other Naga, so that is not going to be an option. I reckon we just grab ourselves a Poipole here.
Yep.
Get rid of that.
Yeah, we've only got 2 of the others in deck, and we want both of those.
Yeah, we do need them. So we'll Ultra Conversion.
Hopefully
we
grab
can,
ourselves another custom catcher.
and we can kill them while they're young, as they say. Alas, 'twas not to be. But that's okay.
Well, we're going to keep that spot open again because the Mew is going to be important here.
Yep, and I reckon we just mind blown and go from there.
How much HP does this thing have? Has it
Well,
got
it's
take
got
2?
50 left because of the rainbow. So
Beautiful.
we
Good
can just
rainbow energy they
hit
get
it
there.
for 1. We potentially even could have just done a burst GX there and left them in the active, but you know, whatever. Oh, sweet! We got the fire energy off.
That would have attached us in energy.
That would have been so good if we had a bursted, but we didn't. Anyway.
Oh, count again. Okay, interesting.
What's going on?
But they are playing basic orders.
All right, they're gonna stamp us to 5.
That's fine. We actually didn't have very
There
much.
was not a lot going on. We've got
a
a welder here as well. So they're bricking here. They've got
really
nothing.
need this Frostlass this turn.
And we win. There you go. High quality gameplay
That's
on the
the,
Sableyes.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. I reckon we have to just leave
you gotta
it
beat
here.
the bad decks and the good decks.
Yeah, you do. You only play what's in front of you. Well, there we go. That's Shintaro's Blacephalon List, played by 2 morons who have no idea what they're doing against a bunch of people online who also have no idea what they're doing. It's like the World Championship Finals, except everyone sucks at Pokemon. That's the high quality content we offer you here at the Sableyes.
Yeah, just a snapshot of exactly what doesn't happen at the World Championship.
This is what was going on in rounds 1 and 2 of the Open, whilst all the good players were playing on day 2. Everyone was just going, I guess I do this. Anyway, so if you're if you're keen on Shintaro's list, here it is. Jump on board and see if you can get it to work better than we got it to work here. There's a whole bunch more decks that we're going to be looking at over the next 2 weeks that have sprung up from World Championships, and we'll also be looking into some stuff that we might play for the special event in Melbourne. Thanks, Blake, for coming along and I would say playing with us, but we didn't really play that much. We just kind of sat in a chair and clicked some buttons.
Yeah, but I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, which is good. Thanks for coming, and thanks everyone for sticking around and watching through whatever that was. If you like the content, then feel free to subscribe by clicking the Sableye in the middle of the screen. On the left-hand side are some videos that YouTube thinks that you'll like, and on the right we have our Unified Minds deck profile playlist for more high-quality Pokemon gameplay. Thanks everyone for coming along, and we'll see you all next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.
Bye.